Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Let's get into Ready to Love Season 8, Episode 5. If you're new to this channel, I do commentary on reality TV shows and celebrity news. So please make sure you subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so you know it every single time that I post. And if you're a returning subscriber, I love you. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to like this video, comment, and make sure you share. Now let's get into it. The episode started with the elimination scene. So Red got eliminated. I'm like, oh, hallelujah. Let's move on. So Tommy starts telling the guys that he wants them to focus on taking their dates out this week and discussing their non-negotiables. And so Herbert sets up a double date with Quentin, Katerina, and Janelle. So Janelle showed up in this denim fit. I'm like, okay, Janelle, looking cute. I see those legs are out. Okay. And then Herbert started asking Janelle, what's going on with your double dating? And she's like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with yours because I can't even get a text back. I'm like, oopsie. So he tries to change the subject, honey. He's like, oh, you glowing. And she's like, you're trying to change the subject. Here's the thing. I don't understand men who, they chase you. Then when it's time or when you start, giving back that energy, then they stop responding to text messages. It's like, dude, just go back. Please, go back to where you came from and don't disturb or disrupt my life. Like, what the hell? I don't really believe in... I feel like if you really wanted to talk to me, you pick up the phone and talk to me. You text me. You do whatever it takes. So Katerina shows up now, looking cute as always. Janelle and Katerina greeted each other. I'm like, okay, so they seem cool right now. I know everything that's happened on the gram shows that they ain't cool, and I'm trying to figure out how they got there. But for now, they seem cool. So Katerina starts talking about... Herbert is asking Katerina how she is, and she's like, oh, she's been fine. Herbert is like, yeah, I can see that. Janelle was like, what can you see? I'm like, girl, you better stop. You have Quentin on the other side. Like, mind your business, honey. So they start talking about their non-negotiables, and Herbert is like, his non-negotiable is having kids. He wants a family. And what was interesting was Kat didn't say that she didn't want no kids, but in her confessionals, she's like, having kids is cool, but not having kids is cooler. I'm like, girl, that means you don't want no kids. So you better tell this man so he can stop wasting his time on you. But I also understand it's a competition. So you're like, I ain't going to say nothing for now. So fair enough. But you're leading this bad on, in my opinion. So Janelle's non-negotiable was dating someone who has ambition. And Q said, yes, that was also something for him, but also dating someone who has emotional intelligence. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. Because that is so important. You need someone who has emotional intelligence. And in all fairness as well, like when it comes to ambition and having a zest for life, like I've dated someone who did not have much of a zest for life, and that did not work out. Like I had to cut it out. I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Like it just ain't gonna work. So the guys all went in to play pickleball. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what pickleball was, but okay, looks like fun. Q was like, oh, he wants Janelle to be on his team because he wants her as close as possible. I'm like, okay. Q definitely seems to like Janelle, but I don't think Janelle likes him the way he likes her, but that's just my opinion. So I was like, okay, this is cute. And Janelle and Q won. I was like, alrighty. The way Q picked Janelle up, I was like, alrighty. Man definitely has not been missing those arm workouts and all of that. I'm like, all right. I don't know if you guys remember that Janelle was saying the other day, I think it was last episode, that she likes when a man can pick her up. I'm like, Q was like, say less. I got you. And he sure did. So Herbert and Janelle decided to have like a sidebar conversation. So he was saying that, he's more of a nonchalant guy who doesn't talk to like multiple women at the same time. And so that's why he's been struggling with the responses. Do you know what? All I hear is excuses. Like, if you don't know how to talk to multiple women at the same time, why are you on the show called Ready to Love, honey? Like, why? And all it takes is to respond to a text message. Like, yes, like, just respond. Like, stop acting like someone is asking you to hang out. All she's asking for is a response to some text messages. Like, what is the problem? And also, it seemed like Janelle was saying that Herbert was her number one because the way she was like, if other people are putting pressure and you're not, I'm like, girl, so you want Herbert to put in pressure? Is that because Herbert is your preferred choice and Quentin is your backup? Interesting. So over on the other side, Chris invited Eris over to his house. I'm like, okay, his house looks really lovely if that's really his house. And so he hired a chef to make some food for them. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. And they started talking about whether Eris cooks. Eris is like, oh, she doesn't cook much. Her kids are now grown. I think one is 11 and one is 16 or something like that. And so she doesn't really cook that much anymore. And for the first time, we realized that Chris has a daughter. Like, I didn't even know Chris had children. Like, that had never been mentioned throughout the season. Or maybe I just did not realize. Let me know if it's just me in the comment section below. So they start talking about, like, non-negotiables, right? And so she's like, she wants someone who is an example for the boys. And Chris was like, yeah, the same thing, but if he's dating a single mother, she must have a good relationship with the baby's father. I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's fair. And so Aries was like, yes, she has a good relationship with her baby's father. And that's the only reason they're not together is because she wanted the divorce. I'm like, okay, cool. So then Chris starts talking about his parents and how his parents are deceased. And he starts getting really emotional. And this was interesting because I thought Aries would like lean in to like hug him. Like, I can't even fathom someone crying around me and I wouldn't like, I don't care who it is. Like, even if I don't know you like that, I don't like you, like, I'm gonna be leaning in. I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I touch you? Like, if I don't know you like that, I'm gonna be hugging up on you. Like, seriously, what the hell? She just sat there. Like, oh, yes, she put like one little arm over him, but that was so weird. I definitely don't think she is into him like that. Chris, I like you, guy, but I think you need to find another match because I don't think she's into you like that. There was no romance for me. It was like best friends hanging out. And yeah, nah, I did not like it. Anyways, moving on. Mavin and Eunik went horseback riding. It looks really fun, I can't even lie. And then he had a picnic set up for them after, which I thought was like nice. And then they kissed. I was like, oh, I don't care for that. You're kissing this man that is always talking about all this dungeon and all this crazy ish. I hope you're ready and I hope you know what you're signing up for. Anyways, they kissed and then later started talking about non-negotiables. I'm like, girl, you should have not kissed that man first. You talked about non-negotiables first. And then if it was aligning, then perhaps kiss the man if you wanted to. So he's like, oh, he definitely wants to have children. He wants to, but he definitely wants a son. And so he was given the impression that he gonna have that son one way or another. Like he gonna keep going until he has a son. Now, I don't know if he knows how having sons work or children and like the gender of the kids. Like, does he know how that works? I don't think so. I do not think so. Now, I know science is advanced and you can do all sorts of cool stuff, but unless he's trying to do one of those, does he know? He may never have a son. Does he know? That, I guess, he will hope for the best. But what he sounded like was like Eunik, was like, I'm done with kids. That's what it was given. So moving on, Maria, Sierra, Kira, Quentin, Herbert, and Jessica went to an improv class, okay? So the first people who went ahead was Chris and Jessica. So they had to improv getting into a car accident. So what was interesting was when Jessica she started off basically attacking Chris like it was his fault. And that was something that Chris picked up. Chris definitely seems emotionally intelligent because he picked that up quickly. So, of course, he's trying to tell her, like, no, it's not my fault and, like, give another plausible explanation. But Jessica was not having it. And so he starts talking about one of his non-negotiables is having a woman who can come to a resolution. And I thought that was interesting because Jessica definitely don't seem like the type. She's like, Nah, it's your fault. You should have listened to me. We ain't gonna be in this situation. And that is that. So I don't think Chris and Jessica are a good match, honey. I do not think so. So Herbert and Sierra, they were doing an improv about coming back from the hospital and discussing what went on. Honestly, I enjoyed them. They were so funny. They were bouncing off each other. They seemed to have a lot of chemistry. Also, their non-negotiables are the same. They both want to have children. And I was like, you know what? This could be a good fit. This could work. So Sierra was like, if it's about the money, I got money. Herbert was like, I got a little money too. But it's not about the money. So he's like, he wants to be in a stable relationship and get married first before having children. So what is clear is this man wants to get married and have children. And I'm like, okay, girl, you may have someone here. Now, of course, if he ain't consistent, if he ain't texting you, then he don't want you. But I think they could potentially have something good together. So now Kira and Murray then decided to have their improv about having lunch on a Sunday afternoon, okay? So Kira was like asking about how his church, and Murray was like, he went to the Bedside Baptist, that was meant to be like a little kiki moment. Girl, she was having none of it, okay? So she's like, her non-negotiable is having someone who loves the Lord. And then she got in the confessional saying that she feels like she's drawing a blank with Murray. I'm like, girl, I don't think you like anybody, because all the time you're always like, oh, I don't like this and I didn't like this. And that, like, girl, who do you like? Who do you like? I've not seen you connect with any man on the show. So what is it, sis? Like, do you like white men? Okay. Food for thought. Anyways, we move. So Murray starts saying that he's non-negotiable is having someone who is health conscious. And here goes Kira. She's like, are you healthy? I'm like, oh my goodness. So Murray is like, he's healthy. And that, sometimes, you can't lose weight in certain places. But yeah, he's healthy and he takes his supplements and all that stuff. I'm like, Kira, it is so obvious that you came for that man. You were trying to fat shame him or body shame him or whatever. And that's just not right. That is not right. So cut it out, sis. So Philip and Katerina went on a date. So can I just say that Kat looked so good in that dress? I'm like, can I get that dress? Like, where is that dress from? Like, I need it. So they start talking about how Phil starts talking about the fact that he's moved from religion to spirituality. And she's like, her as well. So they connected on that. And then she's like, she doesn't mind dating a man who has kids, as long as those kids are no longer in diapers, because she's like always feeling like whenever the baby daddy goes over to the baby's mother's place, they could be like dipping back in. And I'm like, I hear what you're saying, sis. Like, it's more prominent when they're younger. But the truth is they could dip back in whenever they want, if that is something that they want to do. So it's more about dating someone who has integrity, who is clearly over his ex and never wants to go back. As opposed to dating someone, I understand it is more complicated dating someone whose kids are in diapers. Completely get that. But even when those kids are in diapers, if he wants to dip back in, he could dip back in if that's what they both want. So just saying. So Kira, Q, and Eunik went on a boxing date. And so when they got started, it actually looks like a fun date. To be honest, I like boxing anyway, so maybe I am biased. So Kira went over to the bathroom and Q and Eunik had the opportunity to talk. So they start talking about healing and all that stuff. He's like, he's healed and he needs someone that is healed. And so Eunik starts saying like, well, is someone ever fully healed? I'm like, that's actually an interesting point, because she's like, oh, even though like, our ex-husband and everything, like, they went through so much, and sometimes she might think like she's healed, but then other things come up. So like healing is always like a journey. Now, Quentin did not like that. He was like, He wanted He wanted it to be all done. He's like, she ain't healed and I'm not dealing with that. So Eunik left after that, and then Kira and Q had the opportunity to talk. So Kira starts asking Q, what is his preference? And he's looking confused. She's like, oh, I thought you only date white women. He's like, I've never dated a white woman in my life. And he starts saying in his confessionals, like, what would he be doing here if he wants to date a white woman? He's like, his parents have black love. His grandparents have black love, and he wants black love. I'm like, okay, that man was like, I'm going to be direct about this, so this never comes up again. And so she's like, so have you ever dated Latina women? And he's like, yes, but never a white woman. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So she's like, well, there's nothing wrong with like a white woman. Most of my friends are white. All my friends are white. I'm like, girl, shut up. And then she still kept asking him, she was just trying to know what his preference. I'm like, girl, I'm pissed off for him. He is pissed off. Girl, do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like maybe you're projected. Maybe you're the one who wants to date a white man and has always dated white men. And now you're in a show with a bunch of black people trying to figure out why they don't like you. Maybe that's what that is. So back at the men's lounge, all the guys came back. I was like, what is their outfits? Like, what is going on? Chris, I like you, guy, but I did not like that tie. I did not like that fit. Honestly, the guys this season are not really dressing up well. I don't know what it is. It's giving low budget. Like, I don't know what's going on, but they need to fix up. Anyways, Mavin starts revealing to the guys that he got a kiss from Eunik. I'm like, okay. But his top pick is Katerina. I'm like, okay, you have a problem, sir. If you know that Eunik ain't your top pick, why are you kissing her? What is your problem? Why bother that girl's peace and kiss her? Like, why? That's mad. So then Chris 2.0 is like, oh, Kira is this top. I'm like, what? Really? I have not seen it. Maybe we need to see it on the show, because I did not think Kira had connections with anybody. So Herbert is like, he and Janelle have a good connection. And then Q is like, Janelle is his top. But with Lee, it feels like they've been already together, but Janelle is the top contender. I'm like, okay, like, who's your top, Lee or Janelle? Like, now I'm confused. Which is it, Q? Which is it? So the guys start talking about who they're not feeling, and Kira and Eunik's names came up quite a bit. And this is my thing. Mavin, you kiss this woman and you go and put her in the bottom? Like, why? Like, I know she don't want no kids, but like, to put her in the bottom straight away after kissing her is bizarre. It's crazy to me. Why would you do that? I honestly feel bad for Eunik. It feels like I feel like her match is not on the show. And what is interesting is, like, what the heck did she even see in Mavin to begin with? Like, in a way, I'm like, are you attracted to toxicity? Because of all the men on the show, the one person you liked was Mavin, of all people? Like, girl, is it like, do you want him to tie you up? Like, is that what that is? Like, I don't understand, sis. So, of course, Q said he ain't feeling Kira because she was asking him if he was dating white women. And Maria also wasn't feeling Kira because she kind of felt like, he's an activist. He doesn't know how she's going to fit into those spaces. She seems like she's going to be in the car and be like, I'm going to wait for you in the car kind of girl. So I'm like, yes, girl. Yeah, she seems very, very uptight. She does not seem flexible at all. So I'm not surprised that that's the impression that he got. So it was now time for the elimination dates. Maria was basically the one to break the news to Kira. And so Maria and Kira started talking. Kira was basically saying, like, people judge her because she speaks proper. I'm like, you don't speak proper. And what is speaking proper? That's not even grammatically correct, honey. So you clearly do not speak proper, if that's what you want to say, honey. And then she starts talking about the fact that she has black cousins. I'm like, girl, you black. Of course you have black cousins. Are you all right? Is it drugs? Like, what is it, sis? And so she's like, she's not really about like the fighting, the power, but she's black. I'm like, girl, I don't think you know you black, because some days you be acting like you don't even know you're black, because who says I have black cousins? Like, I would never say that. Like, it's a given, honey. If you have to say it, then, honey, you need to look into it. Like, God, her voice annoys me. Anyway, cut the long story short, Mavin went on a date with Eunik to break the news to her. And he basically told her, like, girl, you ain't ready to love. The men said you need to heal. I'm like, did you tell her what you said? Did you tell her? No, of course she didn't. But she's going to find out anyway. And this is the thing. Like, you were the one that was pushing for eliminating her, honey, after the kiss. Like, oh gosh, if I kissed someone and they did that to me, I would be pissed off, all the way off, honey. But anyways, that's the end of the episode. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe and tap that bell for notifications so you know every single time that I post. Please don't forget to share, and make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will see you later. Bye.